Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a Carl Beazley response. Carl Beazley is a fantastic artist to respond to if you are doing a portrait project for A-level or GCSE. I've seen lots of students be really successful when responding to his work. So, some adjectives to describe the work of Carl Beazley: distorted, fragmented, broken, metamorphic, abstract, and to a point, photorealistic, although hopefully you're never going to come across somebody who looks quite like this. The actual features are painted in a photorealistic style. Themes that the work of Carl Beazley would fit into really well would be an identity project, anything where you are trying to explore emotions or inner conflicts of emotions, mental health as well. The idea of a mask, perhaps you might be with this inner conflict, there might be, somebody putting a different face onto how they're actually feeling. It could be personality, maybe multiple personalities. And of course, portraits. It fits really well into portraits. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 methods to get a response using Photopea. So here's the first one. You can see I've responded using just square sections of a photograph. This is a really easy way to do it, and it's really fast, and it responds well to the piece by Beazley, which is on the left. Even if you aren't going to paint something like this, I would recommend doing this tutorial anyway, because it doesn't take very long and it will help you to meet your assessment objective 3 or your experimentation with different media. It's going to be a little bit more challenging with this one, and we are going to respond to the piece which is on the left here. We are going to merge some faces and create a multi-face portrait. This one's going to involve a little bit more blending, and then using those same techniques you will then be able to create something like this. So if you prefer the effect on this picture, then you can continue to watch, but these two are very similar in the technique. So once you're able to do this, you will be able to go on and do this anyway, but I've included the recording of the production of this piece just in case it inspires some ideas in you as well. So let's get started. Before I get started on Photopea.com, I decided to do a photo shoot of myself from lots of different angles. I'm not going to use all of these in my pictures, but it gives me a good choice of my features from different angles and my face from different angles. And that will allow me to be creative as I work and make decisions freely. There is one image that I thought was a little bit too close, and I think that has warped the facial features slightly. I didn't have my camera at arm's length. These were all done with selfies, so it has actually made part of my face look a little bit bigger. It's made my nose look bigger. Now that actually isn't necessarily too bad. So here you can see the same position by me, but with my arm outstretched and my arm not fully outstretched. So you can see there is a bit of warping on there. So this is the image that I would actually choose to use, and I could crop it to make it a little bit closer. So you can see there is a little bit of warping. However, I do have another video in which this image would actually work better. So if you want to watch the fisheye lens tutorial, this would allow you to do something like this, and that warping would actually help that photograph. So it's up to you. You need to make the choices as a photographer before you even get started with editing. Talking about more choices, I've narrowed this down to a few that I think would be the most suitable. Photographs from different angles. They all have the same lighting conditions and the same background conditions because I think that will work well for the Carl Beazley response. So these are the ones that I've gone for, and I'm going to open them on Photopea.com now. Carl Beazley actually sometimes does more simple compositions, so I'm just going to very quickly show you how you can do that. So you need to select your base image, which I think this will be my base image, and then you can pick bits of other pictures to put onto them. I've selected the rectangle select. Just going to select that. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, go back to your background image and go Edit, Paste or Control V. And you can go to your Move tool and you can resize any bits. You know, sometimes they look quite disjointed, his images, and you can use that to great effect. So I'm going to go back to the rectangle select. I'm going to select different parts of faces and literally just copy and paste them in quite an abstract way. Copy it and paste it. So you don't really have to put as much thought into this, because you can just put things into random places and it will still respond to the work of Beazley. You could even do Control C, Control V to make it even easier for yourself. Just the only thing that I'm having issues with here is I keep selecting it rather than moving it. So if you accidentally select something, Control D deselects the image, and then you make sure that you click the move tool to move things about. You just put things at slightly different angles. Might look quite interesting. And if you don't like something, you can just click delete. And say if I wanted this part of the image to be in front of that part, then I can just move the layers about. You can drag your layers over and under one another to create different effects. And there we go. So there's a really simple one, a really quick and simple one. If you're responding to Carl Beazley, it would be worth including that in your sketchbook, as it's a nice, easy, quick response. Even if you're not planning on doing something exactly like that, helps you to pick up marks. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to open your images. So I'm going to go to File, Open. My images are on my downloads. Okay, so you want to pick one that is going to be your base image. So this is going to be the one that all the other faces are on. I don't think I'm going to include all 5 of these images, but I'm just going to play around with them a little bit to see what works best. I think I'd like this one to be my base. So I'm going to leave that one as it is for now, and I'm going to find another image that I can cut the face out of it and put it onto this face. I quite like that one. So I'm going to keep on this picture for now. I'm going to right click on here on the layers tab, and I'm going to duplicate the layer. Now, it doesn't make a great amount of difference, but I found that sometimes with Photopea it can be a little bit glitchy with the background layer. So if you make a copy of that background layer, it should work a little bit better. Now I'm going to try and select this face and separate it from the rest of the image so that I can copy it into the first image. So there's a number of ways that you can do this. So if you go onto this tab at the side, you've got a selection of the lasso select, the polygonal lasso select, and the magnetic lasso select. Now, if I was going to do it by hand, I think the magnetic lasso would be the best, because that kind of clicks into place and you can kind of draw around the area that you would like to select. So that's a more simple, more manual way of doing it. But I quite like this feature, which is the quick selection tool, which is really easy. So I'm going to click on the quick selection tool. It's going to do a quick image analysis. And then all you have to do is you have to just click on an area. And this is really clever. It somehow manages to work out the objects within a picture so that it can select them. Now, sometimes it goes a little bit wrong, like in this bit in the bottom left corner, and it will select an area that you don't want. So what you can do is you can hold down the Alt key and you can select it again. And look, it somehow works out where the edge of that is, and you have your image again. So you can just kind of keep going back and forth until you kind of get exactly what you want. So there we go. So I'm happy with that. So You can do Control C or Command C if you're using a Mac to copy, but I'm just going to do it manually so that you can see. I'm going to go to Edit and Copy, and then I'm going to go over to this background image, the main image that I want to have as the background, and you could do Control and V or Command and V to paste it, but I'm going to do it manually as well. So Edit, Paste, and this will create a new layer. Okay. So I've decided now I don't actually want the rest of the body. So whilst this layer is selected at the side, if you have a look at the layers tab on the right, you can see that I've selected layer 1 and not the background. I am going to actually use the quick selection tool again to select the body, because I've decided I don't want to have the body in this. I just want to have the face. I could use the eraser tool as well. There's lots of different ways of using this. And it's selected the whole thing, including the head. So I'm going to use the Alt key and I'm going to remove the head from this selection because I want to delete all the rest of it. So I'm holding down that key and it's trying to work it out. What do I want to get rid of? It's trying to work that out as we go. Now this tool isn't actually working very well for me at the moment, so I'm going to deselect this by going Control D, and I'm going to try using the magnetic lasso instead. So you can click at the edge of your picture and then you follow the edge of the area that you want to select. So do you see this one works really well as well? Every now and again, I am just sort of manually clicking the mouse as well to tell it the points to sort of record, because sometimes, it can go a little bit off. It's just practice with this. The more you practice with these pieces of software and programs and apps, the better you're going to get with them, because it'll start to become second nature. When I first started with these, it took me a long time to do images, but now now that I've played with it and I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing, I just can do things quite quickly. And it makes me a bit more imaginative. When I look at an image, I feel like I know what I can do with it. Okay, so I've got this area selected. I'm just going to go delete, and that has removed the body from that layer. And I feel like that looks a little bit more like the work of Carl Beazley. I'm going to go Control D because I want to deselect that. And then I'm going to go to the Move tool. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to start to move this head to a place where I think it would look quite good. So, at the moment, I think it's a little bit too big. So I am going to resize it. So I go to Edit, Transform, Scale. That will give me these things, and I can use the drag tool to resize it. You hold down the Shift key, it'll keep the proportions right as well. So I think I want this face to kind of come off the bottom of the face, like that. And I'm going to rotate it as well. So if I go to this corner, sometimes that works. No, Image, Edit, Transform, Rotate. So now I can rotate it a bit. Probably pop it about there. Okay, so I'm going to click the tick. And that looks all right, but it's still not very Carl Beazley because you've got this hair. So I'm going to go to the eraser tool. And I want this to be quite a soft edge because I want the edge of this face to blend seamlessly into this other face. So I want to make sure that I'm on a soft brush. So that is a nice soft brush. You can see you don't want a hard brush, you want a soft brush to get that sort of gradient and transition. And you can see that the brush size at the moment is absolutely tiny. So I am going to use the square brackets tool or button on my keyboard to change the size of that. So you can see you can do that by using the left and right square brackets, and I can erase any areas that I don't want. And that takes out quite a lot. Now I'm going to reduce the size of my brush so I get a bit more precision. And I actually want to get rid of this hairline altogether. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to this move tool and I'm going to move it a little bit. Might rotate it a little bit. Sometimes it lets you rotate it and sometimes it doesn't. So it's just kind of learning to sort of play with it. And then I'm going to go back to the eraser tool. So you can use the eraser tool at the side, but you can also use the, if you look here, if you press the letter E, that will automatically give you a shortcut to that as well. There's lots of shortcuts and I would recommend learning them if you can. Makes your life a lot easier and it makes the production of images much faster for you as well. And again, like I say, the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it. And free transform, which is a really good one, that's Alt-Control-T. So I'm just going to try that now. Alt-Control-T. Oh, and there you go. You've got your free transform there. So I'm just redoing this. Yes, I think I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to click the tick. And there's one more thing I want to do. So I'm going to press the E key to get the eraser again. And I just want to soften this edge from the hair so it kind of looks like they blend together again. And if you do Control Plus, you can zoom in. Oops, just you can use the mouse to move around. I'm just going to soften this edge as well. I think that's gone to a hard brush for some reason, so I'm just going to soften that. There we go. So it looks now like this face is coming out of that face. So yeah, I'm happy with that. You can continue to use this process of cutting and pasting parts of an image together. So I'm gonna do that again. So I'm gonna have a go at that now, and you can watch it sped up. This time I'm just gonna make sure that the body is not selected in this. So I'm gonna remove that before I even copy it over. I keep the hair just because you never know. It's better to copy a little bit more and have to remove it later than not having copied it over and wish that you had it. But I know I definitely don't want the body. This one I'm going to swap around so you can actually create a mirror image of what you have. Just blend in these edges as much as I can so that they look like they are part of this face. So, you know, now if you go a little bit too far and you don't like what you've done, or like you accidentally remove a piece that you want to keep, then you can just use the shortcut, which is Control Z to undo anything, or Command Z if you are on a Mac. And again, I'm just changing the brush size so I get a bit more precision with what I'm doing. I think I quite liked it as it was actually. Yeah. Okay, and Control Alt T to change this.
you've made it all the way to the end of my video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, comment below and subscribe to my channel for more. See you next time.